Good morning. I am sitting here and I randomly picked up one of the books. I carry several books with me as I travel when I go different places. Most of them are books on Tantra or on yoga, stuff like that. One of them is a Seth book. Seth is a hard to explain sort of situation, but I'll talk about it later. So I randomly pick up the books periodically and see what kind of message I can glean from them. So I'm going to just read one chapter from this book, The Nature of, it's backwards, The Nature of Personal Reality by Seth as channeled by Jane Roberts, and then I'm going to discuss it. All of your physical experience must, of course, be pivoted in the corporeal reality of the body. The energy that moves your image comes from the soul. Through your own thoughts, you direct the body's expression, and it can be of health or of illness. Out of a knowledge of the contents of your own conscious mind, you can definitely heal most maladies of the body within conditions to be given later. To be given later would be probably later in this same section. So I read Abraham Hicks stuff for many, many years. And during that time, I found out that Esther Hicks was looking for Jane Roberts to have her channel Seth for them and answer some questions that her husband had. And they found out that Jane Roberts was already dead, and so nobody was channeling Seth anymore. And they met her husband. And so he sent them to Theo, and Theo said, "Never mind, you're going to channel. Don't worry about it. You'll get all of the knowledge you're looking for." So, um, Abraham was always something beautiful to me. The idea we create our own reality and that our suffering is caused by our decisions, what we're putting out there, that makes sense to me. It's like karma, but it's instant karma. And it just made sense to me. But the problem was for me, as a person who's always unhappy, a little bit sullen, quite depressed, to try to find my happiness all the time, which is one of Abraham's tenets, is to find the love and the appreciation in things, and then that raises your vibration up. And then from that point is where you create your reality. Was hard because I was not happy enough to be able to step that high up on the ladder of emotions to find that place of happiness, of appreciation. And I still have a hard time with it. I don't know why. I'm not an unhappy person anymore, but I still lean toward the darker side than the light side. So when I had read the story about them looking for Jane Roberts and Seth, I thought, okay, I'm going to order some Seth books. So for years, I had two Seth books, Seth Speaks and this book, The Nature of Personal Reality, in my library at home, and I never read them. I started reading one and I would stop, and then I would pick it up again later, and then I would stop, and I never fully, it just didn't resonate with me at the time. And then years later, when I was in Tucson, I had gotten rid of both books, and I found this one randomly, which I don't believe in randomness, at a used bookstore. So I bought it and I read it. I read it through, and I carry it with me now, and I randomly pick it up and read a passage, and that passage always goes on with what I've got going on in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. So what's funny is not what's funny. It's not funny at all. Right now, because I'm in Germany, it's very cold weather. It's no sunlight, so I get my mind gets a little bit more down. I'm having a lot of pain from doing all the yoga practice. There's not a lot of warmth. There's warmth in my room. It's very cozy. I'm not worried about that. I'm not feeling pain from that. I don't have a lot of money, so I can't get out and do a lot of things because most things are quite expensive. When you're used to being in India, you don't have to spend so much money on things. So it's caused my mind to get into a little bit more of a, shall we say, resistant place. And when it's in resistant places, then that's when the pain is there. I'm having a pain in my wrist that has been going on for a month, or more, since before I left Mysore, and it's driving me crazy. And so I picked up and read that chapter, and it's quite beautiful because it's the truth, and I know that it's the truth, and yet I don't have the ability to pull my mental state together to shift my consciousness enough to heal what I've got going on right now. I'm not having any maladies, so I'm not saying I'm sick, but this pain and all that is also something that doesn't have to be there. And I do know that. And the fact that I'm making this video means that probably I'm going to figure out today or tomorrow how to get rid of this little bitty aches and pains I've got. Today is Shivaratri, which is a big day in the Hindu calendar. That means tonight you're supposed to maybe go to a temple if you can, have a Shiva lingam in front of you, or in some way invoke Shiva through mantra and meditation. And you're supposed to do it all night long and wake up, not sleep. So when you get up in the morning from the sitting position, you're supposed to just take your bath and go out about your day, not having slept the whole night, which I doubt will happen because I am a creature who needs my sleep. But I am going to a temple here tonight, and I'm taking some of the students that are coming to my yoga classes with me. And the time that's the most auspicious time is after midnight in India, but here it's about 20 till 8 p.m. and we'll be at the temple from 7 p.m. So it'll be quite a auspicious time to be there. And that's telling me already that worked out that way. Is telling me that I'm going to figure this out. So I'm not worried about it. I wanted to do this because I want people to think about, I know a lot of us poo-poo the idea of creating our own reality, but at whatever level you want to see it or think of it as, we are creating our own reality. Even if you're just completely pragmatic and you don't have any mystical thoughts about this stuff, what we're thinking and the decisions we're making in each second, in each moment, are creating the reality that we've got coming up. So it's just completely practical to think that way. I made the decision, and so I'm here in Germany, and so I'm cold, and so I'm having this stuff. I made the decision to stay in this climate, knowing how this climate affects me, and yet I didn't prepare my mind in the right way to get myself in a good space here. I'm not in a bad space. I'm in a very, very strong mental space, but I'm not able to find that space of appreciation, to find that space of gratitude, if you want to call it, to find that space of love for every situation that I'm in this moment. And that is a big thing with me because of sunlight. I need a lot of sun. I'm used to being in India for the last 11 years in the winter, so my home city was always a place that was dreary. It was very like this, gray, but with snow, cloudy. You never saw the sun for the whole winter, sometimes. And so that I bring myself almost every winter I come to Germany and teach because nobody wants to come during that time because of this weather. I know this, and I should mentally prepare myself to be able to handle it, and I didn't do that. And again, I will reiterate, I am not in a bad mental space. I feel pretty good. I'm happy. The classes are going very well. And my relationship with the students is great. I am feeling pretty good for the most part. But I've just got this little nagging, achy, painy things that don't have to be there. And yet here they are, looking me in the face, saying, you're full of shit because you do feel this way. I'm not full of shit. I know I feel this way because I've allowed a lapse in my consciousness, a lapse in my awareness that will help me with this situation. And it's interesting to think about how to get yourself out of it. Well, let me say that in a different way. It's maybe not so interesting to think about how to get yourself out of it because sometimes that gives you a mental mind fuck and you roll back into the situation even more deeply. It's interesting to see how I can shift my thought patterns enough to be able to find this next stage that I need to get to. I did it last week with some other situation, and I know I can do it with this situation. And I'm planning on tonight being my focus to do that with. We're going to the temple. We're doing this thing for Shivaratri. My whole idea is I'm going to go and find this space inside. Because when I'm in my highest form, whatever that means, physical, mental, emotional, I'm there with more energy, with more Shakti for those who are looking to me for help in their yoga practices. So I have to stay on top of that. I'm not judging, I'm not pushing myself, I'm just saying this is my duty to myself, this is my duty to my students. So I'm hoping that that's what happens tonight. No, I'm not hoping. I'm expecting that's what's going to happen, and it will happen, and it's going to be okay. So there you have it, and there you are. What do you think about that? I mean, it's interesting to have conversations like this with people, but I'm talking to the phone, and hopefully someone's watching it once I post it, and we'll see what you think about it. It is interesting to see how each of us processes this kind of information. Just because I'm saying it doesn't mean it's absolutely the end all be all of rightness. It's correct. You cannot argue with it. You can have however you can feel however you feel, and you can have whatever thoughts you have about it. And I would love to have that discussion with you someday. So have a great day. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.